You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show, a wrestling podcast with attitude.
What's up, wrestling fans? It is May 30th. Wow,
bless you.
How about that? I almost sneezed my testicle into exploding. I almost Corey Taylored myself and blew my own testicle off.
Hashtag pray for Lefty.
So now the allergies are coming, so does that mean the rain is stopping? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. It's been miserable with this weather, though.
I want to shout out the most recent subscribers up top, Scott Nugent, Kevin Soto, and AAA Martins. Or Martine, I don't know. And shout out to all the $25 and above patrons on Patreon in the producer level credit. Please think about becoming one of those and check it out. You get a whole bunch of stuff, but really you get your name in the description and a big credit over here. And you keep the show going. So we could use you over on Patreon. You get 30 hours of bonus content a month, but also you get to keep the Joe Cronin Show on the air, and that's what we all like to do. So we don't go off the air. That would not be good. So I don't want that to happen. So shout out to the top guys still. Matt Moon, Sith Negan, Justin McNeil, Gary Metzler, Mikey Too Crikey, Austin, I still don't know how to say your last name, like Cosi, Mike Gwaz, Saul, SJ, or TJ rather, Arknolia Strokelbean, JayyMenAce, and Gerald Armstrong. And there'll be more I'll shout out in a few minutes. But right now, Jake DeMarco's on the phone. And he's gonna, like, normally I make a video on some of the news that's going on, and I just kind of talk about it. But I'm gonna let Jake bring up the news to me, and I'll react to it for the first time because I actually haven't looked at it yet today, except for I know that Rene Young is a big. This has been a big talk, big debate back and forth about, anybody who thinks that they're gonna punish Rene Young is a crazy idiot. And then other people are saying, obviously, she's going to be punished. So there's two different mindsets. And I mean, really, like from podcasters to wrestlers in the industry, all have different opinions. They've said, I've heard legit the opposite. Like, you're an idiot if you think they're going to punish Rene Young for this. And then other people are like, obviously, they will do this. They've done it before. So,
yeah, that's for sure.
Which one is it? That's the question.
And that's the thing. You could see it going either which way. And I've heard, so many people, as you said, pretty much be on both sides of the fence. And there is no unanimous agreement here. Brad Shepard was saying how, Vince is fuming over Moxley telling them that he was going to Hollywood to make a movie, but actually he was leaving to make a movie to sign with AEW. So another bit of the news that's coming out at this point was that, they're also very, very upset with Rene because she knew about the video since February, and they feel betrayed that she didn't inform her current company what Dean's plans were, what Moxley was intending to do. And in one sense, I could see like, oh, you're supposed to have loyalty to your company, your brand, but again, that's her husband, and it's not their business. He did the right thing, That's the difference between him and CM Punk. He went ahead and he, did the rest of his time. He finished his contract. He didn't just take his ball and go home, as we like to say. He went ahead and he finished everything, and he did it the right way. So,
I mean, I get this because this is where there's like a question. If there was no like video that came out and John Moxley had just shown up in AEW, that would be one thing. I wouldn't really look too much into this. But because, like you said, like she knew about this stuff, and then there's going to be stuff, is she going to tell him about what they're doing in WWE? So don't they really have to concern themselves with Rene Young, like, leaking information to AEW? Like, they don't really know, they can't feel like they can really trust her, even if she wouldn't do something like that. This is honestly, you cannot get around it. This is a huge conflict interest.
Exactly. Now they say, well, if she knows anything about future booking plans, what's to keep her from leaking that, a major title change to the competitors? And then we get another WCW moment where, hey, that big slob's going to win the world title. Why would you want to watch that? The Mick Foley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it would happen, but I'm saying, we've seen it happen before where, it's like you said, it's a gigantic conflict of interest. So they're not going to trust her at all. And Vince and company and present company are very spiteful, as we know. They're very vengeful. So it's not to be pragmatic, but it is an unfortunate situation nonetheless. And we heard before they don't know what to do with her at this point. Well, they value her as a talent, but we've heard different rumors that she might be being sent to the headquarters in Sanford to go ahead and be taken out that way and have doing like on-site reports and backstage things, but they want to replace her with Alexa Bliss on commentary. They're still walking a fine line with Alexa because they don't want to retire her yet. They value her too much as an in-ring performer. And they're trying to see if they can, get any more blood from that stone.
I could 100% see this Alexa Bliss thing because, I mean, they just love her. Like, they really, this is like the Sable.
Yes.
This is she's like the new Sable. And I love Alexa Bliss, too. I think she's great. I mean, she's hot as hell. Like, nobody can, she's just fierce, man, when she goes out there. Seriously. She is like Sasha Banks was when Sasha Banks was in NXT. The problem is, Sasha was more of a wrestler than Alexa Bliss is. But the thing about Alexa Bliss is she's just she's one of these ferocious people that will do anything when they get to the corporate level. There was a girl who sat next to me at one point at a job, an old job. She came out of nowhere almost. And I was working my way up in the company pretty okay. This girl, and I didn't know everybody, and some of the major guys in the company I didn't know either. This girl weaseled her way into everything, so much so that top guys in the company were coming over to her desk and talking to her. And I'm like, and I sort of looked at it in a way I'm like, why you were talking to Ron? How did you do you know Ron? I've barely ever talked to Ron. And she's like, oh, he's such a nice guy. I don't know, I've just whatever. And then she basically slides in the whole well, yeah, I'm over here in this area working in this grunt area, but I really went to school for business management plans and stuff like that. Oh, you did? What are you doing back here? We have all, you know what I mean, type of thing. And then works her way into and then the next thing you know, she's packing up her desk. And yeah. I'm trying to get promoted over here. And I know all these things that she doesn't know. And she's getting some job above me. And it's what the hell? And she didn't I don't think she necessarily slept with anybody, because people would say that. I don't even think that that's what happened. But I think she just charmed her way and then got the words out about what she could do maybe and sort of manipulated her way and then all of a sudden got ahead. And that works all the time. That is a huge thing. And I don't blame her for it because...
No, it's easy. You get into somebody's good graces and it just spreads from there.
Yeah, I mean, I should have done more of that. And, I've done that in wrestling. I got one of my first commentary gigs that way in a way. I was at a wrestling thing and I was talking to the guy, and then at one point I was like, yeah, I mean, I do commentary all over the place, and what I love what you guys have here. It's too bad I don't get out here more often. I would definitely I love this company, and I love to do commentary at this place. It's so good. But I'm gonna have some fun tonight. And the guy was like, well, we actually don't have commentators tonight. We were gonna release a DVD, and but when we decided maybe we'll have to get the commentary later, do you want to just jump? And all of a sudden I'm doing commentary. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing commentary for a year. And it's you put yourself out there by starting a conversation, being honest, asking questions, kind of quickly breaking into a friendship with somebody, and then all of a sudden you kind of throw out your talents, and next thing you know, they're hiring you. But that's what I feel like Alexa Bliss does. And I think just like I felt I looked over at that girl who was flirting with all these different people and selling herself everywhere, and I'm sitting there what the hell? I'm working to get this raise over here, and she just got jumped up from the $40,000 a year to making $100,000 a year by talking to a guy, and I watched her leave, and I just sat man, what the fuck? And I feel like that's what kind of Sasha's, does with Alexa. Part of why she doesn't like her is she looks at her like, man, I did all this shit in NXT. I was the one who was at the takeovers. I did all the work for the Women's Revolution. And here comes her just smiling with cotton candy hair. And she gets to host WrestleMania and to do all these other things. And
yeah, she, we've said before, and she said it herself, Sasha doesn't like people that didn't come from, specific, didn't take the indie way, the NXT way, anybody that kind of just got thrown into it. And Alexa did go through NXT, but it wasn't the same, type of, I came from a wrestling school development, so.
Yeah.
And that lack of developmental. And the thing with Alexa Bliss was, she was multifaceted. So she worked well as a manager at first. Then she was wrestling. Then she was able to host and do like mini talk show arrangements. And, so she's had, different gigs and these various hats that she's able to wear.
Because they see her as
all of them.
They see Sasha as, oh, she's going to be a pain in the ass to tell her this. Like that's that. And unfortunately, you've kind of made yourself that way, and I'm not saying I wouldn't, because I might make myself that way too. But unfortunately, Sasha probably has made herself this way that it's like, oh, someone's gonna have to talk Sasha into this.
Well,
or
back in 2017, we reported when she was fighting against Charlotte for the title and stuff that she was difficult to work with.
Yeah,
that they had ideas they wanted for creative, and she was outright refusing to go along with them.
And meanwhile, Alexa Bliss, anything you throw at her, to them, she does it. So they're like,
yeah,
wow,
Alexa, you're gonna have
can
your
just
own
do
talk
anything.
show, and heavy machinery is gonna come on stage and grunt. Okay, sure. Like she said it before, she goes with the flow, and it shows, and they keep rewarding her. I mean,
right.
There's not many people that they usually tend at this point in time. Recently, the past 3 years, they've kind of held on the talent, but it's been a bit different. But for the most part, when someone's injured or injury prone, they make them disappear pretty quick.
Right.
They get cast to the wayside, and they'll keep them signed because they don't want them going elsewhere, but you won't see them on TV. And especially while they're injured, unless they're the main, the Shawn Michaels, the Stone Colds, things like that, and they don't want you to forget them.
Uh-huh.
Unless you're that top tier talent, you're pretty much not going to be seen or heard from anymore. Right. And with Alexa, she keeps getting injured and she keeps having problems. And even when she had her main event match against Trish Stratus changed, they made her the manager of the tag team match at the women's pay-per-view. They find a way to get her continually involved even when she's not able to compete. They give her a talk show. They get, they want you to remember that she's important. So they as you said, she's being rewarded for dedication, and she's clearly doing something right. And this is not all anti-Sasha either, but
right.
We've been reporting since she came up to the main roster that she's been difficult to work with. Now, we don't, know this with 100% certainty, but it definitely seems that way when you've heard it from so many different sources.
I wouldn't say that. Are we reporting? I want to know that. I'm back in the tribe because I want to know this answer. Are we reporting, or are we repeating the report? Are we reporting, or are we talking about the report? Because we didn't actually find the news out necessarily. It was already said by someone who did the reporting, if you want to.
Yes.
So, because we're not really reporters. We're kind of like responding. We're like critiquing the report, or we're like pundits of the report. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I'm asking the question to that. I don't.
No, we're adding our own input.
To the report.
No,
yeah.
It's not our.
So there's a report. Yeah, we're not reporting it. There's a report.
There's been times where both you and I have had direct sources, and we have reported it, broken our own news.
So what we can do, and what everybody does is, what happens is everybody's got their own sources. Everybody can hear. Some people have all the same sources. And some people have websites, and I do. I have a lot of different people that message me about a lot of different things. And I think what it is you really have to sort through and decide, because there's been times where I've gone with, I think this guy's usually right. And then another guy says, dead on what's happening. But he's been wrong before. So you look at it and you go, damn, that guy was dead on. He had to have known that. There's no way he didn't know that. But then he'll get something wrong twice, but the other guy will get something right. So, it comes down to, we're almost like weatherman for the news. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You're deciding based on, I'm always deciding based on what I know, because I don't a lot of times try to break something. It's usually stuff that I keep doing fucking quotations. I keep talking about news that most people are aware of. But once in a while we talk about here, something that maybe nobody else knows about, and it's rare. It's not. I don't do that a lot, but
I'll give you a prime example. I had told you and others weeks before it was like pretty much public knowledge that we wouldn't be getting Undertaker at Mania. That was I stood by that from the person that I spoke with.
We heard that, yep.
And I also went ahead and I told you from the same person that I spoke with about Triple H's match with putting his career on the line, and that came true as well. And the same person also told me that Brock would be facing Seth Rollins for the title at Saudi, but he'd be cashing in for the belt. He wouldn't do a random cash in like where Seth's down in the ring. He'd be cashing in ahead of time, like what Braun did, and that was supposed to happen this week on Raw. So is he wrong? I don't think my source was wrong, but that's one of the things in the wrestling business that's very fickle, and plans change so often that they might be right, and then you're like, oh well, they got that wrong. Well, did they? Because they might have been right from when they heard it, but it's not up to date because things change so frequently. Look at how many times Raw is live on air and the script is still not finished.
Right. They change
especially
things
lately.
Minute.
So, I mean, that's the problem with having, some of these sources. I don't appreciate the ones that are very vague, like, oh, Monday night, something big's going to happen and you'll know it when you see it. But if it doesn't happen, it's not my fault.
You know what the ones that drive me nuts is after something happens where they say, like,
I told you so.
Well, like the AEW thing, the name drop by Sami Zayn. Oh God, I did a JD backwards. Is he going to beat me up now? Dude, I would have stunned him off the stage. No, I would have taken the beating to make him look good, but whatever. Is when, like, so he says AEW, and, like, basically then you can just make a video right then and there and say, Vince McMahon furious at Sami Zayn for mentioning AEW. But then you can also make, a video like it was all scripted, and it's like neither one do you really know. But you can run with either one of those news bits and get clicks. Now, we know that he obviously was scripted. Yes. And that was a bad example.
A bit of an update. We were right on the money from out of nowhere.
Right.
The person I had spoken to, Vince allowed it. It was kind of his idea. He thought it would be a good way to generate buzz and be like, gotcha kind of thing. Like a receipt from Saturday night.
Well, because they obviously probably thought right away, if we give the mic to these people, what if they mention AEW?
Exactly. And that's why going forward, they're going to have plants now if they do that,
or
share segment
Punk
again. But here's the thing. Vince didn't count on it bringing them so much attention. Like I said, it was searched more on Google Trends. There's, irrefutable proof that more people searched for AEW, the words AEW and Sami Zayn AEW, than AEW during Double or Nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
it went from like maybe 1 million people to maybe not even 1 million. Like I would say 600,000 people knew about AEW, right? So 600,000 people around the world knew about AEW, and probably half of those people don't even watch WWE anymore, really. So let's say like 400,000 of WWE's viewers watched AEW. Well, you just told about 2 million people.
Yeah,
about
how many
AEW.
Of those were brand new. It was actually 2.19 watching during that segment.
Yikes.
So.
It's terrible for them.
Or excuse me, 2.25.
Is there any other news we can spitball out here real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, so besides Rene, one of the other big things that I wanted to get into, I mean, Sasha also, really quickly, she posted some bathing suit photos, just kind of like, hey, I'm still here. Her Instagram, again, with the cryptic quotes, I will conquer my biggest dreams. And then she also commented on Rene's post. Rene Young put out a picture on Instagram of, she did that when the interview with Chris Jericho, the podcast, was released.
Yeah.
Rene put up a picture of her and her husband, John Moxley, and Sasha commented, all good things come to those who stay true, with a heart, basically saying, like,
wow,
you were correct and good things are coming. So she kind of, again, indirectly confirmed what he said, and also had to go ahead and get her 2 cents in, like always. So
how long do you think before they move Rene Young? Because I really think that this moving Rene Young to WWE Studios in purgatory almost, and having, because that gets her away from knowing anything, and then having Alexa Bliss come on commentary, And people were already down on Renee Young as the commentator
Yeah, that's
anyway.
the thing. It's not like you're getting rid of a real fan favorite. It's nothing that's,
I think she is. I think she is liked overall. I think people know she was wonderful on the pre-shows. I love Renee Young on the pre-shows myself. She is trash on the commentary on Raw, though. And that may not be her fault. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I mean, I think it's going to be sooner than later that she's, relegated elsewhere.
Wow. So, what do you think, like 2 weeks or 4 weeks? Or
If not, I think it'll be right after. So, let's see. Saudi's this coming Friday. Not tomorrow, but the week after. So, the Monday after that, I think it'll be when she moves out.
Jesus, that soon. So, that's going to be pretty obvious to people. They're going to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I think it will be obvious, but they're just going to try and do it quickly, ripping off a Band-Aid.
Wow. We'll see. What if they don't? What if, like, let's say 2 months goes by and she's still there? Are we all fools?
No, because, I mean, she is an asset at this point, and I can understand them trying to want to salvage some of this. I mean, she does have her own following with fans that are pretty loyal to her.
Yeah.
She has garnered a lot of goodwill within the company, and people do enjoy her. I mean, it's not like she's suddenly disliked by anyone, but it's just a huge conflict of interest. It's not like she's going to run home and obviously report everything to her husband and be like, well, this is what we're doing next week, and this is what we're, go tell Cody everything. But that could be Vince's mindset now, because Vince is very angry with how the end came. So.
Did you hear? But do you remember? Like, think about like AJ Lee. Like, didn't she do that? They did the same thing with her, where they waited like a month or something. She was still, and we all said like, can't believe she's still here. Can't believe they haven't done anything. And then they did do it, but they waited till after that kind of died down. It was like, what was it? A month or two later that they got rid of her.
Yeah, it was around that point in time.
I don't remember if she left or they got rid of her. No.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. I really don't. I don't even remember. CM Punk left on his own, so I think they probably were going to move on from her. But she kind of wanted to move on anyway.
It was she announced that she had not just left WWE, but she retired. And that was April 3rd, I think, of 2015.
Yeah, so she left on her own too.
Yeah, and that wasn't long after.
Yeah.
Mania and everything, so
yeah, so
I think that was right after her and Paige.
Because people are always like, "Look what happened to her."
Match at Mania.
Well, everyone's always like, "Look what happened to AJ Lee," and I'm like, I don't remember anything happening to her. I thought she just left. So
yeah, because her and Paige had that tag match.
I mean, they might have had her lose on her way out
too. And they beat the Bella Twins.
Which, by the way, that was a huge thing on the Moxley podcast, because I had said like, "Oh, how great is it? Dean wants to help put everybody over on his way out, probably, that type of deal. Like, what a great guy if that's what it is." And I remember I wasn't 100% on that, but I was like, I feel like that's what he's doing. But that was not what he was doing. He was booked that way, and then booking Nia to come out to get him, like, and he takes a bump for Nia, and he wasn't told about that until like the last second.
Yeah.
Like, wow, dude. Like that.
And he said he didn't care about doing the bump. It was just how now they're going to do it just to tear him down.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing, is like, if it was like he wasn't leaving, he was there, and they were like, "Hey, we want to do this thing with Nia," he would have been like, "Hell yeah, that's cool. All right, all right, want to do that? Fine, well, I'll do it." But like the fact that he's on his way out, all of a sudden now we want this woman to beat the shit out of you. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It is very odd. So
I would have thought the same thing. But anyway.
The last thing I want to get to here is the Brock Lesnar news that came out. Stephanie McMahon posted on Twitter earlier. She put up a video and basically saying that, Brock was out of line for what he did Monday. He defaced the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I think is ridiculous anyways, because we've seen people... RVD painted it, remember? And other people have done things to modify the briefcase to make it their own.
This is ridiculous. This is really fucking ridiculous. You told me about this earlier.
Stylized it as well, so...
You're telling me the Brock's in trouble now over what?
And she said that him and, Brock and Paul Heyman were disrespectful. Their actions were disrespectful on Raw because they said that they would come out and announce who that they were facing, and he didn't do so. And he also was disrespectful to both Seth and Kofi Kingston as a whole. and the WWE as a whole. So
everybody's disrespectful every week on that show, I feel like.
That's the thing. So it makes, it was supposed to be like, they even had a T-shirt, the Brock Party, that went along with him.
Yeah, they had a, like,
the boombox. So
you made a T-shirt, so now there's a T-shirt that says Brock Party, and now he's in trouble for defacing the title?
Yeah,
or defacing the Money in the Bank briefcase? What the fuck is wrong with this company, dude? These people are out of their fucking minds. You are retarded. I'm so, like, what? What are they doing? What?
She said he disrespected what the Money in the Bank contract represents. They disrespected both the Universal and WWE Champion and the WWE Universe.
Oh, God.
And I'm trying to... So on behalf of our organization and on behalf of all of our fans, I'm going to take this matter up officially with both the McMahon family as well as our executive team.
None of that makes any sense at all.
And we're going to take action.
What? The guy didn't do anything. He said, I might come out here and I'm going to come out and challenge, pick who my opponent is. Never mind, I'm not going to do that. And I got a boombox thing. Oh, well, now you're in trouble for having a boombox thing. Why'd you make a T-shirt for him?
Exactly. So you go against the gimmick that you obviously promoted. He didn't
Seth
make
Rollins
his own
had a
shirt.
bomb
He
in
didn't
it
have
once.
Paul Heyman in the back stitching T-shirts together.
Dean Ambrose put a bomb in the thing one time.
Exactly. He had it blow up in Seth's face with a green goo.
I don't.
But I'm saying Rob Van Dam painted his. Dolph Ziggler had stuff.
Yeah.
People have done things throughout the time with the briefcase. That's nothing new.
This is trash. This is contrived trash.
Exactly.
What a trash story.
They're just out of. It's well, this is going to blow up in their face too, because it's going to make Lesnar look more sympathetic. Because anytime, doesn't matter who it is, anybody you put up against the authority figures looks sympathetic.
Yeah, because
so
nobody
make Lesnar look like the babyface.
Maybe they're trying to make Stephanie look good, but dude, Stephanie's going to get.
But it's
booed.
not going to work that way.
Yeah, people hate Stephanie. They legit hate Stephanie now. It's not even like a. You know what I mean? It would be very hard to get Stephanie.
It's not in kayfabe. People just don't care for her.
No, they don't like her anymore. It's really weird. It would have to be if Stephanie announced me and Triple H having a baby or something like that, people might cheer her because in the back of our heads, everybody really does like Stephanie in the back of my mind and everybody's mind. But right now, for the most part, people don't like Stephanie. They don't like her. They don't like her on-screen character. They don't like her voice. They don't like her actual. They don't actually like her, is what it is. They don't like her corporate bullshit. It's
her
that's
focus on philanthropy and
yes,
all those things, and it should be positives, but it's not. It turns into a negative, and that's why I brought up that little speech of mine a while ago with saying that they really need to get away from the authority figures with the McMahons, because no one gives a shit about Shane. He's just so blasé that people don't care.
Well, luckily, I think he's doing a good job as a heel, though. I think he's doing okay.
He's good as a heel, but just not as an authority figure.
Yeah, he's not taken seriously. I mean, he's not taken seriously by them either. I mean, he's
exactly.
They're all alphas, and Shane's okay.
And Vince is too old at this point. Hitting him has no repercussions. People have knocked him senseless. We've seen Roman assault him twice. Kevin Owens and AJ have both attacked him.
By the way, the older he gets, the more
consequences.
The older he gets, the more consequences there should be.
Yeah,
it's the opposite. When he got stunned by Austin back in the day, Austin was arrested. He gets punched in the head as an old man, and nothing happens to Roman Reigns.
Nothing happened to AJ. Nothing happened to Kevin Owens, really. I mean,
yeah, the AJ
it was
one
supposed to happen with Owens, but it didn't really work out that way. So
with AJ, at least he pushed him, but still, there should have been repercussions. It should have been wow, you don't do that.
Yeah,
they just wait. Oh my God, dude, all this stuff makes no sense. I mean, dude, the Dean Ambrose, the Jon Moxley podcast goes right into all of this. You could almost picture Jon Moxley being so why are you going to get knocked out and there's going to be no repercussions? What's the point in the story here? There is no point. This is good shit.
Yeah, this is entertainment. So, and the surprising thing is too, they added more dates to Lesnar's contract.
Yeah,
they like I said, the person I was talking with said that he was supposed to cash in this past Monday and then go to Saudi for the title, and they changed that. So now he's going to be at the Saudi show. Doesn't mean he'll be on the show, but he'll be at the show. So what are they going to have him do? Are they going to have him cash in then in Saudi Arabia? I'm sure they could consider doing that, just because it might be big for that network special. Maybe they want to do something big for the Prince over there. That's the only thing I could think of, because they already paid for his travel. They already paid for his room. You know, it's all set in stone. He's paid to be at the show already, so they're not going to not send him and utilize him. But they apparently opened up their vault for him. TV Insider said that, how much more we see him? Why spoil the surprise? But you're going to see him a lot more than you did in 2018.
Yeah, that's true. I bet. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, with the Money in the Bank, maybe that's part of why maybe they knew. Obviously, they knew that, so maybe that makes sense, because they're like, well, we'll give him the Money in the Bank because he can always kind of be nefarious and show up with it. So, if he was only booked maybe for 4 to 5 times for the whole year, you wouldn't put the Money in the Bank on him then. But because they can make him show up a lot more, even 10 to 12 times, maybe he will, because I thought he would hold this thing all year, or like almost all year, to be honest. That's what I thought, because if you're going to put it on him, and he may fail the cash-in still, even at the very end.
He very well could. I think it would be a failed cash-in.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that. So maybe it won't be now, because now it always goes, if everyone starts believing one way, it goes the other way.
Yeah, so they try and swerve you, but
so that means, they wanted to have a failed cash-in, but now everybody thinks that, so now they're gonna wait. I don't know. Who the hell knows with that? Anyway, that's basically it, and that's all. I just, out of everything, that stuff with Stephanie next week or on Monday next week is just hilarious. Like it's
so asinine. It makes me really not want to tune into Raw. That's the sad part. I don't care for Lesnar, and that makes me feel like not bad for Lesnar, but I have to side with him. You took somebody that I don't care for, in a kayfabe sense, and I'm like, all right, well, now I have to go ahead and side with him, because there's logic behind him doing what he did. Obviously, he can cash in whenever he wants. That's the point of it.
Right.
So you saying that you're mad because he didn't cash in defeats the entire purpose of the Money in the Bank. You've killed the gimmick now.
Yeah, you wanted him to be stupid like Braun Strowman.
Yeah, just like you killed, the 24/7 title by suspending the defense of it. You know, you don't have to defend it when I say
every second a rule is made so they can break the rule immediately. Like, we're gonna have the shakeup, so everyone's going to this side or that side. A couple weeks later, we're gonna have the wild card rule though, so any 3 people can go to the other brand at the end of the night. Actually, it's 4 people. Like, what? They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
It's 4.
Is it 5 now?
I'm saying sometimes they brought over 5 once before.
Oh yeah, no, they should have totally just at this point with the wild card. They claimed it
as 4, but I don't think they counted Shane one of the times.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen that there'll be 6 people one night, and they won't even mention it or whatever.
And then all the rest of the people that are on Raw that barely had any TV time to begin with, now they get nothing.
Right.
They get absolutely nothing, because you have to have 2 nights of Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns instead of just 1. And a bunch of recaps.
That is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This whole
and you wonder why we
ridiculous.
keep hearing, the WWE locker room is split with stars who want to leave, and those who want to stay. I've heard this. Dave Metzler was discussing it earlier, saying that you see these guys and, they just throw the big money and they're going to stay because they're motivated by money. But then there's the others that love wrestling. They love the business and, they want to be better utilized. So we're going to see a huge split coming up soon. People are going to write out their contracts and be done.
There's probably some people who were big wrestlers and wrestling, whatever. Wrestling comes first. And at some point they were like, I like being a star. I think maybe Zack Ryder's a bit like that. He kind of reserved himself to okay, they're never gonna, let me do what I think I could do maybe, but I enjoy being a star and doing this as a living, so I'll just shut up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that with Zack Ryder. I think that he just figures, hey man, I wrestled a whole bunch of years and now I'm here. I get to be on TV and a lower mid card star. I'd rather do that. And that's what he likes to do. He doesn't go in and say, hey, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins is already... There'll always be an indie spot for Kurt Hawkins. So he's probably just like, well, I'll just, do what I got to do here. Lower tier. I don't have to worry about anything. But when
even Ryback's teasing about, him and Dolph Ziggler reuniting over at AEW, and they have no interest in Ryback. If they did, they would have already talked to him, but... It's the fact that these guys they have an alternative now, so that you have to be very mindful of that. There is another fish in the pond. Small as it may be at this point in time, it's still there.
Right. Well, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you guys leave some comments down below. I'm going to be responding to some of the other comments that were left. Yesterday, there was a lot of them, and a couple of them I will respond to, and certainly there's some on Patreon that I didn't get to, so I'm going to do a single episode with those where I talk about that stuff. Although I do want to browse them really quickly right now because I don't want to. I feel bad we didn't answer them the other day. God, where is it?
See if we can get to a few.
There's only a couple, but okay, here they are. All right, so questions for corrupted or out of nowhere, and we didn't really answer any, but there's only 4, so that's okay. Sean Pyatt says, how long do you think it will take AEW to overtake WWE? These are coming from patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Become a patron if you guys can. Support the show and send your question or video question in. How long do you think will take AEW to overtake WWE? I don't think they really will. But maybe. I mean, that really depends on if WWE doesn't make any changes whatsoever at some point. And they never will financially from what I can tell. So, I don't know. Now, if you're looking for maybe WWE, like them tying WWE in ratings and stuff and like being on almost equal ground other than the fact that WWE has more money and stuff, because I don't think that'll ever change. But if you want to talk about like how long until like there's a battle, I mean, I would say it would probably take at least a year or 2 years for that.
Year and a half is my guess if you're looking for an actual war.
But maybe not at all.
I think AEW has a huge opportunity here. They can really, because they're going to get a huge influx of wrestling fans. You're going to get the WWE, and wrestling, loyalists that want to see what's going on elsewhere. They're going to tune in to see what the competition has to offer. Depends on what night they go live too. Are they going to go live on Tuesdays, knowing that SmackDown's moving to Fridays? But are they going to go live before SmackDown goes to Fox? So are they going to go head to head with them at first? There's a lot of what ifs here.
Not first.
But I guarantee their first debut night on TNT is going to be massive. I think they're really going to push, heavily into marketing to make sure people know that they're going to be live, and it's going to be a big draw in that sense.
See, if I was WWE and I was Vince, I would use this. I'd say, you know what? The last time we got the biggest we ever got was because WCW got new people into wrestling. They got new people into wrestling, and then the minute you become a wrestling fan and you get into AEW, at some point, you're obviously going to know in the back of your head or hear about WWE. So if I was, WWE, I'd be planning another Attitude Era. I would say, the minute that they have like 2 to 3 million viewers, and they clearly have a different audience than us, we're going to change what we do, and we're going to get like they are, but we're going to do it even better. And we're going to bring like Stone Cold Steve Austin in as like the general manager or something like that. And we're going to go crazy, and we're going to do everything we can and change the whole format, go TV 14, and I would then try to suck up their audience and then try to win again. And then you would be basically maybe have 5 million people watching WWE again. So
it is possible.
That would
and
be
the thing is, they could both coexist,
plan.
And we can have 2 great products. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's probably, dude. That's Jake. That's the real answer. Is he's asking when will they overtake whatever? No, just look at TNA. Here's the question: will they be able to kind of be the TNA because for a little while TNA was at like 1.5 million viewers. Can they be the number 2? That's the answer. Can they be the number 2? Because who's the number 2 right now? TNA's garbage. Ring of Honor is, like a whimper in the background, and New Japan is pretty good, but like not a lot of people watch that. And
New Japan's massive, but not stateside. So.
And even NXT right now, to me, honestly, if you ask me who's the number 2 promotion, well, I know that NXT is part of WWE, but quite honestly, the number 2 promotion going is NXT.
And if they treated NXT like the third brand and not developmental, if they actually made it seem like this is the third, in the tier list, it could be even more monumental for WWE. Right now, though, they treat it as essentially the redheaded stepchild that they forget about often. I wish that they would, make it more impactful, and really, I mean, just simple little things that they could do when, the guys come up from NXT, they don't even have their belts and, stuff like that. The tag teams, being forced, when we saw the Viking Warriors not having their tag belts with them, stuff like that. Make it seem meaningful when they, oh my God, these are the champions, for tag teams and NXT.
Right.
They need to bring back Pyro. That's something that's sorely missed.
I mean, that's like at the bottom of my list, but that's on there.
No, but I'm saying just to be competitive, because AEW is, that's one of the things they're touting, and their Pyro isn't great. It's very sideshow-esque. It's minimal, but it's there.
Yeah,
it's something. So
it actually seems fun that it's not so over, because of the overblown, raw Pyro and stuff. It kind of, you didn't even notice it anymore, to be honest, until they took it away. You didn't really miss it. You were like, oh, I didn't. It just kind of goes off, and it's all, they could have been like, they could put digital effects and noises on the TV, and you'd be like, oh, you wouldn't even notice unless you.
I'm the outlier with me, and it always caught my attention.
It does live. I'm like, oh fuck.
Even on TV for me, that was one of the draws.
Well, I didn't. So. I mean, I definitely noticed it,
but I'm one of the outliers for that. That is not a common opinion.
Well, I mean, I loved it. It wasn't until it was gone that I went, wow, this without Pyro, this is kind of.
But lame. No, you're right. It does become background noise.
Yeah,
I've heard that from many people. I just, for some reason, have an affinity for the fireworks and whatnot, to the point where it really stood out for me every time.
You whack off to it.
Yeah, blow it up. Yeah.
Well, guys, we are way past the time. Oh, we got more questions. Shit.
Yep.
Or a couple more. Zach Connor, even though the wild card rule sucks ass, do you think SmackDown is going to suffer more than Raw because of it? I would think so, because they have an hour less than time. And if the ratings are worse,
segments.
So ratings are worse. They're repeating segments. They're replaying segments. They spent on SmackDown this week. They spent 15 minutes recapping things, whether it was Saudi, last week's SmackDowns, all that stuff. So it's
the Firefly Funhouse plays again.
Yeah. So there.
I didn't even cover what happens on Raw. They show what's coming up soon.
I did not include that, so make it 20 minutes. So. Yeah. 20 minutes of that, then add commercials. So now you're down to an hour and 10 minutes of wrestling. Of anything can happen. And then you're talking about the wild card rule. So anybody that came over from the wild card, take that away from SmackDown's time too. So it already is suffering right now, Zach Connor.
Because right off at 2 hours, you have 36 minutes taken away for commercials. So 36 minutes is already gone. So you got an hour and 24, and 24 minutes is recap. Now you have an hour. You got 20 minutes for the opening and all the talking. That gives you 40 minutes for wrestling. And guess what? Another 15 of that is going to be promos and entrances and all that stuff.
Well, and here's the other thing. Here's the other big thing is on top of that, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people punish SmackDown for Raw. So people watch Raw and it sucks. They don't watch SmackDown, even if SmackDown is good. So you've got that handicap as well. No doubt why the SmackDown ratings are way worse than anything. Like, you think the Raw ratings are bad, SmackDown is going to break a record this week. And the reason is because Raw is so bad, and like 30% of the WWE audience doesn't watch SmackDown if Raw is bad, and some of them didn't watch anyway. They just watched Raw. So SmackDown has this mega uphill battle of discombobulation, and that's why Road Dogg's not there. That's why Road Dogg's gone. It's part of it. So he's working in NXT now. And good, because he's going to feel way better. He's going to be so much better working with NXT talent. Road Dogg is going to have a blissful life now going forward if he can finally convince everybody that he's not on SmackDown anymore. And I wonder if I guess he doesn't sit next to Vince now on Raw and SmackDown, so maybe he does. Maybe he still produces there, but doesn't write anything, but I doubt that. He probably just isn't there anymore. So I wonder who the guy is working with Vince now on Mondays and Tuesdays, or if, I don't know, maybe I'll ask him. I'll ask him. Sith Negan, do you think AEW's mid-card title will be a television title, United States title, North American title, Intercontinental title, International title, Commonwealth title, National Heavyweight title, or social media title? I don't think they'll go social media title.
No, I think they're going to have... They said they wanted a few belts, but not many.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not joking about this. I know Billy Corgan is running NWA now. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something with him eventually, with having... they already have, so they're already all cool. But, probably having that NWA championship featured, or trying to even get the company NWA, you know what I mean? But they never will. NWA is always independent. But I could see them trying to get the NWA title on the show. But also, yeah, I would see something more of like a TV title, where it's got to be defended every time, and it's the TV title. That way you keep the world title a little more prestigious off, TV for the most part.
Yeah, because right now they have the AAA titles that belongs to Lucha Libre, AAA Worldwide. Excuse me, can't talk. And there's talk that AEW might add a 6-man tag team championship title. They're obviously going to have a women's championship, and they might have a women's tag championship. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to add a secondary singles title like the old school TV title or the IC title or US title. I'm sure down the line they will, but initially they have the AEW championship. They're going to have women's. They're going to have a tag titles, and they might have a women's tag titles. But that's all we're seeing right now. They do want a 6-person tag though, which I think is interesting.
I would, if I was them, I would have world championship. I would have some kind of TV title. I'd have a women's championship and a men's tag belt. That's how I would start. Leave it at that. And then also we've got other people coming in, like you said. The AAA tag belts could come in. The NWA belt could come in. Those things could be featured. If somebody happens to be coming through the company with that belt or has the championship. Pac, they could have done that with Pac and his, but obviously they've got some kind of bug up their ass about how prestigious their title is or something. Which is weird, I think, because it would have gotten featured and gotten their brand, I think, talked about more had they had them on there in some way. So I don't really get that. Last one is Reese says, when do you think the 24/7 title will get more serious? Because right now only jobbers care about it. I don't think it really ever will.
This is just something for the talent that was forgotten to have something to do.
Remember, it's the 24/7 title. So the more angry you get about like the lowest title on the show, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's a funny little thing.
The hardcore title was never that serious either. There was a little point in time where they started to delve more into it and give it a bit more credibility, and then that went out the window.
Was Vince bashed it into pieces and then gave it to Mick.
Yeah,
or whatever it was. So anyway. That is all I have for you. Thank you to Jake for steering the ship. That was way longer than we expected.
Yeah,
47 minutes. 47 minutes.
For our quick update.
Wow. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Listen to Out of Nowhere from last night. We talked a lot about a lot of other things. A lot of things all over the place. And patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. I'll be shouting out the patrons all week. And tomorrow night is Monetize This. And tonight is Thursday Night Throwdown on the Corrupted YouTube channel. Goodbye. Here's some videos you might have missed. They're popping up now.
That's gonna be some good shit.